I know this is really blunt, really honest, but I'm tired. I'm just done with you. I can't handle your investment advice, your philosophy anymore, dude. I gotta break up with you. I'm done. I can't handle it. I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry, buddy. I gotta go. Whew. Oh, what's going on, guys? Today I want to tell you why I think Kevin O'Leary is just plain wrong. So let's just jump right into it. Welcome back, passive income investors alike. Today, if you are a fan of Kevin O'Leary, you're not going to like this video. And I want to break down my personal relationship with this guy. Not that I've known him personally, but just how I've evolved in my investment philosophy and how much of an impact he's had on me. And I've just been dying to make this video, and I've been leaving it off for a while, so I'm excited for this. So you're probably thinking to yourself, damn, sounds like a breakup. I just had to make it like that because Kevin O'Leary has been a huge part of my financial world when I was coming into this and growing up into this, guys. It was very... let me explain to you a few stories, guys. I can't even remember if it was the Dragon's Den. I honestly can't remember how I became situated with who Kevin O'Leary is. If you don't know who he is, he's a multi-million-dollar investor. He's on Shark Tank, was originally on Dragon's Den. Really just awesome, successful investor, guys. And back then, when you start investing, you have no idea what you're doing. So essentially, you just start listening and taking advice from other people. But eventually, you're going to evolve to realize these people are just plain wrong a lot of the time. It's frustrating and it's annoying, and it makes you all of a sudden feel a little bit more confident with your own personal internal dialogue that comes to investing, guys. So let me tell you a couple stories really quick. Kevin O'Leary, from as far back as I can remember, I had a really good passion toward this guy because he was so blunt, straightforward, and his advice just seemed like it made sense at the time. Back then, guys, when I was starting to invest, one of my first investments I ever made that I never talk about, which was in the Canadian oil sands, which you can't invest into anymore because they got bought out by Suncor. But I used to listen to Kevin O'Leary years ago go on about how you have to be invested in the Canadian economy. Canada has one of the largest exports and is one of the largest suppliers of oil. We have one of the largest reserves on the planet, guys. So Kevin O'Leary is like, you need to be a part of that. Everybody should have that in their portfolio. Everyone should see the Canadian oil sands in their portfolio. This is what he was telling to students. And me being a student, of course, guys, I'm like, you know what? I should own the Canadian oil sands. So I bought into it, hold it for a little while, watching it go up and down, not really doing anything, playing the volatility of oil. Then all of a sudden, at the same time, guys, not too shortly after, it was bought out by the Suncor. And Suncor, I think, bought it out at somewhere, the shares ended up coming to, you were getting a few Suncor shares. The shares, I think, were around $33, $35. Don't quote me on that. It was so long ago. And that is when things started to change for me because I did not like Suncor, guys. I like Canadian oil sands. They owned one of the largest reserves of oil, and I felt like if oil had a big upside ever coming for it, well, the Canadian oil sands would definitely benefit until they got bought out by a ginormous conglomerate. And that's when I lost a lot of that initial girth toward the company, guys, because I'm like, I don't want it to be this little nick thing in the back of their pool, guys. It needs to be the pool. I wanted to see it evolve and grow, and it just became Suncor. And now, if you look at Suncor stock, guys, I got rid of it years ago. Like, I'm talking about one of the first investment decisions I ever made, and I had to get rid of it, guys, and I'm glad that I did because look at it. It's done nothing except pay a very tiny, slowly growing dividend over the last decade, guys. It's really depressing when I look at their chart. It's a good sign that there's just no growth and this company is just stagnated to whatever happens with oil. And now that things have changed with natural energy, we obviously can see into the future that, you know, oil's not going to be around forever. And I think they're trying to get, people are fighting to see it gone sooner rather than later, especially with the Trudeau government and carbon tax and all of this stuff jamming down oil's throat. It's just not an industry I feel like I want to be a part of. Now, moving on forward, guys, I actually used to call into like BNN when Kevin O'Leary was on. I used to get through all the time, and I used to ask him questions about companies like Coca-Cola, just all these different industries, just to see his take on it and what he thought, because I admired him so much. In fact, I even donated, guys, to when he was running for office. He wanted to be Prime Minister of Canada, and though you might not agree with that, you might not like him, and you think, why the hell would you give him money to run his campaign? Well, I liked what he was going for. I liked that he was a guy that wanted to put money into our pockets, wanted to kill carbon tax, kill anything that puts a drain on entrepreneurship, and I just, as an entrepreneurial person, I felt like this would be the best guy for the situation. And a lot of people were comparing him to Trump and whatever else, but again, let's just shove that aside because he didn't even end up continuing to run because he didn't think he could continue to compete, and he just gave up. And unfortunately, we don't get a refund for that. It just goes, I can't even remember. There was a huge dilemma with that money that he raised because he wasn't just legally allowed to give it back to us. Instead, I don't know what happened with it. I think it stays with whatever party. I don't know how it works. I just know there's a big kerfuffle with that teased a lot of people off, including myself, which leads me up to today, guys. Today, guys, I got to talk to you about his funds. We have OUSA and OUSM are his largest publicly promoted funds, guys. They're basically, he put together his own ETF, his own management team, and you can simply just buy into his management team. And I actually did this as well. Not OUSA, guys. I have yet to ever buy an index fund. I quote it all the time that it's like the thing you have to benchmark yourself with. You should always put some money into one of those funds. It stabilizes your portfolio. Heck, even the portfolio I made for my business partner's daughter's school project involved pretty much 25% of the portfolio being in a Vanguard index fund. And I still haven't, but man, when Kevin O'Leary 2 years ago was talking about OUSM being his small cap ETF, he thought that when Trump lowered taxes that all these little companies were going to see a massive benefit that would chase the stocks and probably send small caps into a rally that would outperform. And this sounded very sound, guys. I was seeing companies I watch on YouTube hiring more people because they were saving more money, and I'm like, oh man, this might actually work out. I bought into OUSM within 2 months of purchasing the position. I sold it. I lost money, and on top of that, they also got their stupid commission, guys. And it was because it took me a month and a half to come to this conclusion to realize, why am I letting this guy manage my money? I can see everything in the ETF. I can buy it if I like it. I can pick and choose. I can get a higher yield that's more consistent and more understandable because the yield structure they have, because they own so many companies, is super confusing, guys. And I don't know why I made the decision at all. I pulled out 2 years ago, invested all my money, spread it out elsewhere, and it's working out fine for me. And I look today at OUSM, guys, and for the last 2 years, even going until now, he's still promoting OUSM to outperform the S&P. I don't know if he's stopped, but I recently saw a video where he was still promoting it. And when I compare OUSM to OUSA or any Vanguard 500 index, like, the small caps that he owns has not outperformed the big cap companies. This brings me to my final conclusion for you guys. Do not take anything I say literally without doing your own homework. Do not take any investment advice from anybody without taking it at a grain of salt. You should always have a chip on your shoulder when it comes to this stuff, guys. You should always have your back up, your ears perked, and you should always be absorbing and self-concluding, not letting someone else make the conclusions for you guys. I've made videos on the past about Bill Ackman. I'll leave that in the comment section below because he was another one of my favorite examples of why business people can lose millions of dollars and they're not always right. If you don't know, Bill Ackman made a horrible investment decision in Valiant. Valiant Pharmaceuticals, a Canadian company that went almost abolished overnight after he bought it at almost the peak. So I'll leave that down there if you guys want to hear more about me ranting about how you shouldn't take advice from everybody. So stay cool, stay awesome, guys. Remember to slap a like, maybe consider subscribing, and I will see you tomorrow.